But
Yep.
speaking of accuracy, games, and fun, we are getting into the first game of the winners final. Super, super excited. We've got Kyrie's POV here, capturing the first zone. We see ambidextrous being run by Kyrie here. What do you think of that, Timmy? We've got Tempest with the
Ooh.
fire offhand.
Very, very interesting. I think it's a smart choice. And like I said, I was hoping to see some choices that we didn't expect coming here and leave it to Kyrie for coming through and surprised me a little bit. Honestly, super, super, super hyped that we're getting to see Kyrie's perspective. The coach herself, we've been talking about her all night. Now you get to see why we've been talking about her all night. But coming through with a big brain decision to pick up that ambi, and it's really going to activate that offhand gauntlet as much as possible. You're going to get that first skill from that class. So with the Pyromancer Gauntlet, you're going to get a bigger fireball splash. So it's going to be it's not going to be as difficult to hit those fireballs. And that on top of this mobility offered from Tempest and even in the air, increased damage, those fireballs are going to be very detrimental to your survival if Kyrie Caitlin gets up on you. 5 to 6 here as Kyrie Caitlin will go in for her first recall of the game and pick up a nice little fire gauntlet upgrade. And she's going to be going back down to hopefully come in and pick up maybe an exile to even this score back up.
That's it. Seeing a little bit of the famine of the Valguards there. I think Kyrie is definitely going to be working towards getting her set up, getting her build sorted, getting them couple of scrolls that she may need to get her build really rolling. We see this with a lot of players where once they get them first couple of talents, them first couple of gauntlet upgrades, we just see the roll happen, the snowball effect of Valguard goes down, player goes down, more Valguard recall, and they're just getting more powerful each time. But Kyrie absolutely dipping, ducking and diving from the enemy here, but not quite able to disengage, unfortunately. Does allow her to spend her runes, though, and get another couple of upgrades to come in hard and fight back.
A little bit of an early lead coming in from the team on the red. That is going to be Gecko's Wet Thigh coming through with the early lead. And yeah, definitely surprised to see some of these engagements happening, going in for the loot. And it looks like some players had just kind of got caught off there. Definitely going to be a little bit of a detriment that they're going to have to come back and answer to as Kyrie Caitlin comes back down to the ground, looking for some action, but getting right there where she needs to be with her teammates, trying to get these upgrades quickly. And like I said earlier, it's a little bit of a race to get those talents, to get those items, and to try to get that big damage output from an early point in the game. But right now, a little bit of a struggle, but some nice teamwork and some focus fire coming in from Kyrie Caitlin and a teammate to put out some big fire damage on this player nearby.
Exactly. We see a big close quarters combat fight going on here with Kyrie and what I believe is Delicious Wet Fish, if he has not changed his outfit since last game. I believe that was Brilly we saw in that close quarters combat. It does look like they're going to disengage from that fight, though. Maybe get a little bit of healing off. It definitely looks like Delicious Wet Fish really backed off from that fight. Saw Kyrie was getting a slight health advantage, but it doesn't look like she is letting him go. Takes a big lightning strike, though. A little bit of a beam. Nice use of the surrounding area to try and get a bit of defense off, but the wind shears just weren't quick enough to get behind this point.
And that's one thing there's another thing that we have to realize here, and I kind of noticed it early on, is Kyrie Caitlin being the presence in the community, not only just in Spellbreak, but as in the competitive community. People know who she is. And if you all know Kyrie, she runs a specific outfit. She's very noticeable. This is her outfit. So the point I'm trying to get at is here, Kyrie's coming in completely aware that she may be focused. People may be looking for that class, that outfit, and they might be trying to take her out of the equation. And we see a lot of focus coming in on Kyrie, even though she's keeping herself very evasive. She's very mobile. She's positioning very well. The enemy team knows very well that she might be one of the linchpins in this whole machine. So getting rid of her, taking her out of the equation might make the whole strategy fall apart at its base. And right now we see a little bit of that happening. 25 to 32, now 26 as it ticks up just a little bit. And wow, it looks like the student may be surpassing the teacher just a little bit, as Gecko's Wet Thigh is really doing a great job of teamwork here and getting spots.
Exactly. And that's the thing that we're probably seeing here from Thunder Thigh is he's communicating to his team, look, if we can get Kyrie out, if we can make this a 3v1, You know, I know how Kyrie plays. I know how we can counter her. Bang, go in straight away. I know Sloth said the other way around earlier, but it could be flipped on its head at any
Yep.
point. Both sides using their knowledge of each other to their advantage. It does look like that. Delicious Wet Fishes team, Gecko's Wet Thigh, if I'm not mistaken, is taking the lead there by 6 points at the moment. So we'll have to see if Curry can maybe get a little bit of famine in, regroup with their teammates, and see if they can take these full 3-on-3 fights or split off to their 1v1s to just try and even out the playing field a little bit and get those respawn timers back on and get the loot that they need to be able to finish it out.
100%. There is definitely, there's merit to the idea of taking out the linchpin and taking out the player that you think might be kind of the source or the founder stone and cornerstone of the team. But there's also, there's strategies where you can communicate as a leader. You can say, team, all right, we need to reset. We need to get back together. Everybody recall, get to this point. Make sure you guys protect me. If they're going to focus me, that's fine. If I know they're going to focus me, we'll use it to our advantage. Make myself extremely difficult to hit. I'm not even going to focus on damaging. I'm just going to focus on baiting them around, kiting them around, so my other teammates can do the damage needed to be done. And 100% this game is definitely not over. 4-point difference here. And Kyrie Caitlin, like I said before, is the queen of the comeback. She loves to come through and get her team focused when they get pushed up against the wall. That's when Kyrie Caitlin comes out with the claws. Okay, don't put her in the corner because she's going to make it happen. And right now, I feel like we see a little bit of that momentum shift already. 42-46. Kyrie Caitlin able to get out of the damage zone and recall there for a second, comes back down and does go down, unfortunately, but she may have opened opportunity for her teammates to capitalize on. I'm not sure. Either way, I'm counting on Kyrie's communication to come through and get this team focused and reset and potentially make a comeback. If not, it might be an inevitable inevitable loss.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, one thing that I'm seeing quite interesting from Kyrie is that it looks like she's maxed out her speed boons off the bat. So we're seeing a 9 in speed and then a slight increase on the mana and armor. And then, we've got the all blue gauntlets. We're slowly making our way up. The blue gauntlets, the blue rune, those cooldowns are dropping. That damage is increasing ever so slightly. Still only seeing one scroll on Kyrie at the moment with the ambidextrous. Maybe if she was able to pick up a couple of vampiric scrolls, these trades would go a little bit more in her favor because not only is she healing more from it, but also putting out a little bit extra damage, but picked up that purple fire. Hopefully that is going to be able to make the difference here. It's super, super good to see. But yeah, still a 4-point lead between them. To Gecko's Wet Thigh. So we're seeing not much movement in the game at the minute, but we are about halfway through. So it is still anyone's game right now. And as Timmy said, Kyrie, queen of comebacks. We love a good comeback story. So let's see what this game can bring us. 3 points between it now.
Yeah, you see that gap slowly closing. That's the Kyrie effect. She's definitely going to be doing everything she can to try to get that comeback coming through. But I will say, for all the effort that Caitlin's definitely going to put through, and honestly, the entire super team, she has been effectively shut down up until this point. She, like you pointed out, she has not been able to loot her scrolls, and getting her exiled is obviously bad. You don't want the other team getting points and score, but also just preventing her from getting her build is so huge because she's not fully activated. And at this point, most of the other players in the game probably have 5-6 talents already upgraded, so their builds are going to be able to be much more viable, much more activated. They're going to be able to rely on those talents so much more than somebody that isn't. And now that we see it playing out, we talked about it a little bit, I think that focusing Kyrie Caitlin, shutting Kyrie Caitlin down from the get-go was a strategy for the opposing team, and I think that's exactly what we see happening here. I think also the speed boons from Kyrie shows that they were aware of that strategy. I think Kyrie knew that she was going to be focused. I think she knew that they were going to try to take her out of the game and shut her down, and she wanted to be that bait. She wanted to be evasive. She wanted to draw them in, make them make mistakes, and let her team capitalize on it. And that's what she's been able to do slowly but surely. We talked about it for a second. It was down to 3. Now it's down to 2-point difference. Kyrie Caitlin slowly but surely turning this around. Super team slowly but surely turning this around. And I'm excited for it. This is what we were waiting for, and I knew we were going to get it in this match.
Exactly. We knew it was going to be a close one. There was no way it wasn't. This is an incredible game to watch. We see Kyrie getting her talents up now, getting them scrolls. We've got 2 in ambidextrous, 1 in intelligent, if I'm not mistaken. I'm so bad with 1-point talent rune names. But yeah. So those little increases can make such a huge difference. We see that she's only an inch away from that second boon as well, already on the legendary fire gauntlet. Maybe looking to pick up some armor boons next to again be able to take that bait, take a couple more hits, so her team can finish up and clean up behind her. If not, maybe grab a little bit of that mana so she can turn around, throw some damage out, and still have enough mana there for her levitate, maneuverability, and escapism.
Absolutely. It's so, I love to see the big brains come into play with this game and making choices depending on the situation, not following some, cut and dry strategy where you do this at this certain time. This is what I'm supposed to do. Something they learned off a guide. These are players that understand the game at such a level that they have the tools to make the right decision in any situation. And right there is a big show of Kyrie Caitlin knowing very well that she's going to be focused. She wants to focus on those speed boons. Not normally the choice that you'd make in the beginning, but definitely something that's really working out for her to be able to stay evasive. Unfortunately, we do see a little bit of a pushback now as that gap was slowly closing. Now back to 4-point difference here as we get closer and closer to the end. That 120 points or 3 more minutes on the clock as Kyrie Caitlin and the super team struggles to try to find some footing here and try to get some more points on the board. 77-81 as the clock ticks down, and Kyrie Caitlin has shifted from this kind of evasive, trying to stay away from the damage, but now she's kind of, I want to deal a lot of damage, but I'm also going to stay in a safe spot. I'm not going to go too far in. It feels like she was much more focused on just being evasive in the beginning, but now she realizes, hey, I need to come in and get some of these points. I need to put some points on the board for my team too. And we see some of it happening already. She picks up one with a quick flick of the fireball, 80-84. And it's getting close, LD. It's getting close.
It is getting so close to me. One thing that I'm noticing from Kyrie's gameplay at the minute as well is she's now sticking to one of her teammates, be that Arctic or Newbie. They're sticking as a duo, using each other to their advantage. Nobody's going to push a 2v1, or very few people are going to look to push a 2v1 in a competitive situation. So Kyrie's sticking with her teammate. She's picked up that vampiric scroll now. As I was thinking previously as well, we see on that last recall, she did pick up 2 armor boons as well, which is going to make her a lot more tanky for these fights to try and pick up these points. We're now seeing only a 2-point gap. It's shifting up and down constantly as we cast. It's hard to keep up with what's going on in the game. It's incredible to see, but looks like Kyrie's going to get another recall off now. Maybe looking to pick up a bit of mana now that she's got that increased armor and already with more than enough run speed. But yeah, we've got the legendary fire on one hand, upgraded to the purple dash. Incredible to see. Timmy, what was that? What did you just see?
I'm looking at the time. We got 1 minute on the clock. It's 89-91. Kyrie gets a recall. That was huge to be able to get out of that without dying. Was huge. Comes back down with a nice upgrade. Legendary fire gauntlets. 90-92. Less than 1 minute on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. 2-point difference. And if you guys don't know, I saw some people asking in the chat. This is the winners finals. The winners finals. We'll have a loser bracket, a winner bracket, and then the grand finals. But right now, this is going to be our winners finals. And Kyrie Caitlin, super team, Gecko's Wet Thigh, Thunder Thigh, they are fighting it out right now, trying to get the dub. This is going to be our first round of our last couple of teams in our winner bracket. And right now, it's looking like Gecko's Wet Thigh might pull it out a little bit. 20 seconds left to go, LD.
Nice. 5 points in it now. I think Kyrie's team are going to have to pull something out of the bag if they want to be able to finish this game out in a win. But if not, we've got 2 more games, or at least 1 more game. So maybe this is going to light a fire for Super Team. They bring out an incredible new strategy, and we just see an incredibly different game. One thing that I did want to touch on as well is we did see Himwood as the first map for this game.
Yeah.
again, I was, predicting maybe they were going to throw that out to get that first game out there on a map that everyone's kind of comfortable with. And maybe that was the decision that went on there. Maybe Halcyon would have been the better from the beginning, seeing Kyrie run that Tempest. We saw how well Tempest was working and how. So yeah, super, super awesome stuff. But Greensloth, welcome back to us, my friend. I hope you're feeling blessed.
I am much better now. I've got my coffee. I'm energized. I've had my toilet break. I'm relieved, ready for the next round to start. And I can't believe what I've just listened to and witnessed in the background there. What was that? How close was that game right until the end?
Exactly.
Insane. It's honestly it's been getting more and more. The thing that's deciding these matches is the strategies going in and not necessarily player skills as much. And it's going to be really, really awesome seeing going in. And LD makes a great point. This might have been kind of a throwaway map for either of these teams, specifically Super Team. This could have been maybe their worst map, and they said, let's put it out in the first. See how it goes. If we win that, we can feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more comfortable. But if we lose it, we know we have to try really hard. And coming into this tournament at this point, we're in the winter bracket finals. The difference is your strategy. And we saw Kyrie coming in with a really interesting strategy there. She was very much playing the role of being a bait, trying to use that speed to stay super evasive, not your traditional choices. And I think we're going to go into this next round seeing more of that mindset coming in, trying to think of how they can maybe take their opponents off guard, take them by surprise, come up with something that maybe they got a secret, like we've been talking about, something up their sleeve that they haven't released yet, because this is their last chance. If they do have a secret weapon, this is the time where they're going to have to use it. And is it going to be on Halcyon? Is it going to be on Banehelm? I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see.
I think I've got my money on Halcyon for sure for this next game. I did just hit over here as well that we are going to be getting Delicious Wet Fish's POV for the next game. So we're going to be able to see a little bit of the other side, see what their team have been doing, see what kind of builds they're running. It looks like Gecko's Wet Thigh are doing extremely well in these final rounds. Their comms are pulled together. Their teamwork is pulled together. Sir Brillium is bringing it in for this team, and I love to see it. It's super, super fun.
Sir Brillium has well and truly arrived, it seems. And I can imagine Thunderthigh feeling elated right now. First round victory over his mentor. I mean, that's got to feel good, right? Besides the win itself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Huge
And
stuff.
Was there a little bit, do you think there was a little bit of that, what you were saying, where the teacher may use some information about the student to get an advantage? Do you think there was a little bit of that reverse, like LD pointed out? Was there a point where maybe Thunderthigh was like, oh, my teacher, Kyrie, she does this every time. She told me this is what I'm supposed to do, so this is what she'll do. How much 100%. Of a play did that come into?
I think it could have what could well have come into play. And I was, as I was saying at the beginning, that it could go that way. I was thinking, but what if it goes the other way? And I didn't consider that. But watching that happen, that could well have been what threw Kyrie off of her game a little bit. Plus, playing Tempest, we know that is very difficult to not be the bait.
Yeah. Yeah, you are very obvious as a Tempest being up in the air quite a lot. Yeah, for sure. It's a very, very good point. And yeah, that's something that we might have seen from Thunderthigh is, look, Kyrie taught me to play this way. This has been working really, really well for me. But from Kyrie's lessons, I've now found this new strategy that is completely unexpected. She's not going to see coming. Bang, and we just see that in action in that last game. There's so many variables, so many different things that could be coming into play in these games. And it's just really exciting to see what's going to happen. I can't wait to get into this next game. I am eagerly awaiting, to say the least.
Also worth noting, I know we've been focusing very much on the rivalry between mentor and mentee here, but it's also worth noting we've also got Kyrie, who was ranked #1 for Chapter 2 Dominion, and we've also got Wetfish, who's UMG World Champion.
Yes.
So we have got two top of the top tier gamers here, right, going at each other, and maybe the pressure of that is getting to them. They know what they've achieved. They know what people are going to be expecting from them. So maybe by overthinking what they should be doing, they're putting themselves at a huge disadvantage.
Yes, for sure. That's definitely like you are not just in your average Spellbreak arena or lobby. You're in the SGC arena. There's a lot of eyes on you. There are people that might potentially sponsor you in the future. There's bragging rights on the line. The community's watching, so there's definitely a lot of pressure on. So that's definitely going to come into play big time going into these lobbies for sure. You want to show up, you want to show out, and you want to prove yourself a little bit. So definitely, I think it might also come into play. Do you lean on what you're comfortable with, what you're familiar with, what you know is good? Is that going to be good enough to compete? Or do you have to try new things? Do you have to get out of your comfort box to be able to compete? And I think that's going to be a hard decision for these players to make. And that's one thing about Kyrie Caitlin is she's like, as far as I know, she's not really a specific class type of player. She's a very much flex, right? She's not the Stone Shaper. She's not the Pyromancer, but she can pick up any of them and do it well. And I think, like, on top of being a coach, on top of probably being the leader voice in the comms for them, she's also picking up the slack and picking up the class that needs to be picked, And I mean, on top of everything she did for SGC as well, she's just an animal. And it's going to be interesting to see if that animal like comes out in this next round.
100%. And it's as you say, I don't think there's a right way of playing it when it comes to this high level competitive environment where we've seen one trick ponies, or as you say, we've seen, for instance, Delicious Wet Fish has stuck with the same class throughout the entire tournament. Whereas we know Kyrie can dip into any class that she wants to, as you just said. She's a jack of all trades. But there's no right way of doing it because both teams have got this far and both teams have been changing it up and not changing it up respectively. And it works.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly that. But I know we are just waiting on a couple of tiny little technical difficulties, but we should be back with you guys very, very soon. I know most of the teams are rocking and ready to go, so we are just waiting to get into that second game. But people in chat would love to hear what you guys think about what's going to happen in this next game. Any standout moments for the last game for you guys? Anything you'd like to see any of the players pull out? As you said to me, Kyrie being a kind of flex player, is there any specific gauntlet combinations that people think Kyrie could really do well with right now? I think that'd be a really interesting conversation, as you say, we don't get to see very many flex players, and Kyrie being a coach, she's there for each and every one of them, has her ideas and movement for each of them. I think it's a really, really interesting thing. So yeah, definitely like to hear everyone's opinion on what they're thinking the next game has in store for us.
I have a very interesting thought, I think. So as y'all know, I like to bring the community together a lot. I get to see them like pushing their strategies and competing against each other on the BR side of things. Kyrie Caitlin is one that shows up pretty much every single night, competes with us. And she's been doing something really interesting lately that I think might come into play here. I'm excited to see if I'm right. But as we talked about, LD, you are a Stone Shaper main. Right now, it is very, very difficult for Stone Shaper mains because of the Tempest meta. However, there are great players that love to come into my stream and into my lobbies and basically prove me wrong by taking a Stone Shaper and just smacking some Tempest and taking some big dubs. Kyrie Caitlin is one of those players.
Yes.
And that being said, if Kyrie Caitlin can come into stacked lobbies and compete against some of the best Tempests that play the game, like Bully and some others, Marty, does that mean that becoming Stone Shaper here now is the best decision because she already knows she can compete with those Tempests on Stone Shaper? And is she facing against a highly skilled Tempest this time? Gecko, Delicious Wetfish, Thunderthigh, are either of those players playing Tempest at a super high level right now? I'm not sure.
Ooh, that is a very, very good question. I know Thunderthigh is a Tempest Pyro player, so I do think we are seeing Thunder bring that Tempest gameplay. But as you say, Thunderthigh being Kyrie's student, then she's going to know how to counter that best, as well as knowing how to counter those Tempests with the Stone Shaper. Although Tempest is very strong against Stone, again, something I've experienced is you can take a Tempest. You get them. I mean, I run fire offhand with my Stone Shaper, so you get a couple of them fireballs in at the right time, or especially with the boulders, when you get to that end game of Stone Shaper and you've got 2 boulders, if you can hit both of those with pinpoint accuracy, that's 100 damage off the bat. Super, super crazy stuff to see. And with the accretion towards the end of the game, you can really control certain fights by just throwing a boulder. People see the massive shadow increasing in size, and it just splits the entire fight out. And it's one of the reasons why I don't think I could ever switch from Stone, is it's one of those classes that can be very difficult to use, but my gosh, does it do some damage when you get it right. Those shockwaves, especially paired with the fire, can just control complete areas. Using the shockwave to carry the fire off the floor. You can use it to get rid of any tox puddles on the floor, leaving it a lot safer for you, all whilst at the same time gaining shield every time you smash the ground. It's a really, really fun class to use, and we could even see some crazy builds come out with maybe a Stone Shaper ambidextrous wind. So you've got the wind jumps, and then you've got the shockwave down. You're up, down, up, down. It'd be something very, very difficult for a conduit player like Delicious Wet Fish to be able to track someone who's bouncing up and down constantly and regen in about half the damage that he can output at the same time. I think that's something that could bring something really interesting. And Stone Tempest or Stone Wind or Tempest Stone is not unheard of. I know in some of Sloth's games and my own, there is a certain somebody who runs that and has given me many a run for my money. So yeah, maybe that completely out there combination could be something that gives them that edge.
I tell you, I've never been so scared of a Tempest Stone as I have been Donny.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's as a Frostborn. Like, I look forward to updrafting Tempests, but damn, is he terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Kyrie goes with next, whether she's going to stick with that Tempest, because I know that she stuck with Tempest a lot in chapter 2. I think it was chapter 2. Yeah, I think it was chapter 1 or 2. She was hard on that Tempest grind, and that's when I really got to know her at first, and I was blown away by the movement of it. This was back in my early Spellbreak days, so it must have been chapter 1, and I was just blown away. I'd known of people that are great with Tempest. I've played against some of them, but there was just something quite different about the way that she practiced all the different texts. And I know from speaking to her that she's got documents upon documents upon documents of just different strategies and different techs and different combos and ways to play the gauntlet. And I don't know any other breaker that has taken that much time to note down every single thing that they can do to A, improve themselves, and B, just use when they get to the level that they can do it comfortably.
And that's and all of that is 100% true. And with all of that experience, all of that effort and passion, on top of all that, you have great decision making. She knows how to use those tools that she's learned. She knows where those techs work best. She knows how to implement them into a team composition. And that is what's setting her apart from other breakers consistently, not in just SGC, not in just previous tournaments, but in the community, period. So big shout out to Kyrie Caitlin. And honestly, I think we're going to get this next match started up, but Kyrie Caitlin is going to be our Medify coach. If you guys don't know, we are sponsored by Medify. I know I may have mentioned it a few times, maybe, but Medify coming through and really providing some nice prize money and allowing us to put this awesome show on for y'all. Sector X Gaming also coming through, allowing us to use their facility. Medify is going to be the one-stop shop for your place to get coached by players from the best players all around the world on your favorite game, and definitely want to check that out. !SGC will give you a link to our Discord so you can get involved on all future events that may be sponsored by them. Again, who knows? No question mark. Anyways, get involved in the Discord, check out Medify, and get excited because we are about to hop into our final match. This is going to be the second round of the winners finals. The winner of these finals will face the losers winner, and we will be having our grand final match. I'm not 100% sure
Just off the
about
back
if
of what
that's
you're
going to
saying there,
happen
Timmy.
today or not, but I do think we're about to get to the end of the winners bracket at least. So get hyped for that. I'm ready for it. Hopefully you guys are ready for it. And let's
The losers bracket is looking quite interesting. I don't know if you guys have had a peek at that anytime soon, but
that's what I'm
we've
looking
had
at
two
now.
teams completely hold their own the entire way through to now the quarterfinals, and it looks like one of them at the moment may well go further into the semifinals as well. And it's going to be interesting to see how these teams that have fought so hard to get this way in the losers bracket to go against these two new come-in teams that have obviously just been knocked out and added to the losers bracket. Are they going to be fighting harder because they've got to this point by fighting rather than just being knocked out later in the tournament? Or are they going to be worn out from so much fighting now?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Be seen. They're definitely going to be tired, but they may be more acclimated to the energy that's in this tournament. So they might be adrenaline, keeping them up where they need to be. But it's definitely, we've been at this for some hours, almost 5 hours now. These teams have faced multiple opponents, multiple rounds. They have to get into queues. They have to get into customs. So definitely going to be some fatigue wearing on them. Whether it gets to them or not is going to be the big deciding factor.
I can only imagine the amount of fatigue that some of these teams are under right now. I've literally just had to go and get myself a coffee just because I'm tired and I'm still buzzing off all the hype of watching these incredible games. But to be playing in them, to be that involved, and to be that, for lack of a better word, sweaty. I don't know, man. 5 hours of gaming at this level, that's no matter how far they've got at this point, every single team that has been involved in this and has managed to put their all into this, huge well done to them. Huge well done.
Giant props, man.
Yeah, huge props to all the players tonight. We've seen some absolutely crazy games. Yeah, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be able to cast them as well. They've given us plenty to work with tonight. Yeah, it's been super fun to see, and yeah, just glad to be here.
100%. This is the community showing love, right? This is the community coming together, putting on something for the community, for something that we care about, that we love. And if you guys love the energy, you love community and family and friends, that's what SGC is. That's what Spellbreak is. You guys are all invited to become part of our community, our family, our friends, over on the Discord, !SGC. Get in there. We have coaches, we have players, we have content creators, we have people that just like to make memes. All right. Get in there, find friends, hang out, connect with the community. And we are currently waiting for this match to get set up. I think we're waiting for one more team to try to get it going. And this is going to be our second round of our winner finals going in on SGC. You guys make sure, like I said, in the Discord, keep up with the announcement tab. I know some people like to mute the announcement tab, but at least check it every so often. We got lots of events, and you will miss out if you're not there. But jumping on in,
like this game
we
is
ain't missing out on anything, baby.
Here we go.
About to jump into this match. Let's see who's going to be.
Make or break Kyrie's team at this point.
That's it. We're looking at Halcyon.